Let's see. All right, it looks like we are live. What's going on, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to the channel. Constant Approach. We got a new episode. Today is April the 12th. JV wins. He's here. Dogon SS is here as usual. We had a slight pivot. We're going to introduce a new topic this week. And, there was something we were going to talk about Russell Wilson. But we decided we'll just do Russell Wilson another day because Cam Newton decided to go viral today. So much appreciation to you, Cam, for the content. We certainly do appreciate it over here on this side. So first, what we're going to get into is we want to talk. Well, I wanted to touch on Tiffany Haddish's comments about what Will Smith did at the Oscars a couple weeks ago. So we won't rehash the history of this. Will Smith went on stage and slapped the poo nanny out of Chris Rock in the face at the Academy Awards. So obviously there's a lot of ancillary conversations going on. And Tiffany Haddish was asked how she felt about it. And so she gave her opinion. So I'll just kind of read this to provide some context. This is an article from People Magazine. There will be a link to the description of this video. There will be a link to the description of this article. There will be a link to this article in the description of this video so that you can check it out for yourself. But this piece from People Magazine says Tiffany Haddish is sharing her thoughts on Will Smith smacking Chris Rock at the 94th Academy Awards, explaining why she found the controversial moment, quote, beautiful. When I saw a black man stand up for his wife, that meant so much to me, Haddish, 42, told People at the governor's ball following the ceremony. During the show, Smith, 53, I'm not exactly sure why they mentioned the ages of these people. I've always thought that was weird. Like, why is that even relevant? During the show, Smith, 53, walked on stage and hit Rock, 57, after Rock made a joke about his wife, Jada Pinkett Smith's hair. Haddish, who starred in 2017's Girl Trip with Jada, continued, quote, as a woman who has been unprotected, for someone to say, keep my wife's name out your mouth, leave my wife alone, that's what your husband is supposed to do, right? Protect you. And that meant the world to me. And maybe the world might not like how it went down, but for me, it was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen because it made me believe that there are still men out there that love and care about their women, their wives. Haddish then asked, would you do that for your wife? Would you say, keep my wife's name out your mother effing mouth? Like, yes. So I'll go ahead and end that there. It kind of sounds like she's infusing her own personal past relationship history into her feelings about that. I kind of, how I feel about generalizations. I think that there are ways to show that you care about and are willing to protect your wife than to make a national embarrassment out of yourself. But that's my personal opinion. Nevertheless, to address directly what she had to say, the main thing that I kind of wanted to say was I hope we keep that same energy because everyone has to be held to account for the same standards. Now, there are people who have commented on this situation, and I'm inclined to agree with those people who have asked the question, well, if the onus is on Will Smith to protect his family and his wife and his relationship, in that kind of situation, then would the onus not be on Jada Pinkett Smith to do the same in a different context? So, moving forward, I just hope that we keep this in mind. If this is the insight that we want to glean from this situation, the next time that an individual in Jada Pinkett's position feels as though it is necessary to make intimate details of her relationship with her husband public knowledge for public consumption by talking about their sexual history, by talking about the fact that they've agreed to an open marriage because her husband does not satisfy her in the ways that she wants her husband to satisfy her sexually. In the moment when a woman decides that she wants to go public with that type of information, talking about the individual who she has had extramarital sexual relationships with, talking about the fact that she wishes her husband, in this case Will Smith, could better read her mind to know how to satisfy her better. That we then can ask that woman who decides to make those types of comments, are you protecting your family and your relationship when you make that type of information public? I'm not here to suggest that she is or is not. All I'm saying is let's keep that same energy, because one can surmise that when Jada Pinkett was doing that on the Red Table Talk Show and these various other outlets, when she was talking about this stuff publicly, talking about it with Gwyneth Paltrow, because Gwyneth Paltrow has some kind of new sexual revolution show on Netflix and whatnot. When you're talking about these things, if what Will Smith did at the Oscars is protecting your family, quote, then I would surmise that you keeping that type of information in-house would be your own version of protecting your husband and protecting your family. In this new left-wing socio-political world that we now live in, where we're always talking about gender neutrality and sexual equivalency, it is now not just the burden of the man to protect family and to protect household, right? Women should be doing the same thing if we're really on this world of equality. So if women are supposed to be doing the same thing, then I think the onus on women is to do so within the parameters that are most appropriate for you. So don't talk about that kind of stuff publicly, because if you do, others can make light of the situation and use it to their advantage. And you can have people like August Alsina, who make songs featuring Rick Ross, talking about the fact that they are involved in an entanglement with you. And you can leave it up to content creators, bloggers, and podcasters, and people who are looking for content to service their various platforms and channels to make light and basically to make fun of your situation because you failed to protect your marriage and your husband and your household by talking about those things publicly. So again, I'm not trying to say either person is justified by doing or not doing these things. I'm merely suggesting that we keep that same energy. So Will Smith can go on stage and we talk about that being a showing of protection. Then we can also talk about how Jada Pinkett going on her talk shows and airing out what I believe to be intimate details about their relationship and their marriage is in fact not protecting her relationship in her marriage. So I think the door has to swing both ways. We're talking about two sides of the same coin, and it needs to be treated as such and not go so far as to even suggest that there is a double standard at work in which women can do certain things and express certain levities that wouldn't be considered a violation of the trust with respect to the sanctity of marriage. But men, on the other hand, can have to be burdened with the responsibility of showing the same sort of protection when said protection that they're showing, in my opinion, comes from behavior that was put forth by the woman in the first place. So I just think that we need some consistency. And you know, Tiffany Haddish talking about how this is the most beautiful thing that she's ever seen. Well, how beautiful did you think it was when Jada Pinkett was talking all of that stuff that she was talking last year and during the pandemic when she was doing what she was doing? Was that beautiful? You know, I don't know her personally, but it kind of seemed I don't think I'm going out on a limb saying that she was probably someone who liked what Jada Pinkett was doing. So it's like, you know, let's keep the same energy and let's ask for some consistency is how I kind of feel about that. If Will Smith has to go out there and publicly protect his wife and his family, then Jada Pinkett should have to publicly protect her wife and her family in the same regard.
That's a unique point. Never thought about it that way, but can't say that I disagree. I agree with all of that. As far as that angle, how I saw this situation was, um, single woman, um, doesn't really have a man, so everything looks hot to her. That a man would do for her.
Yeah.
And for as far as like the whole from the Will and Jada perspective, that whole situation is just an absolute mess. And as we discussed last time, any way you slice it, he made a dumb move.
Yeah.
And so for her to find that dumb move attractive says a lot about her character. And anybody else that feels as though he did something righteous in that moment, I won't say that their character is flawed or anything like that, but what it says about their character is that they're caught in, I guess, this paradigm of where what am I trying to say? Like this paradigm where people get I lost my train of thought. I lost my train of thought coming with that. But more or less, this whole situation with Tiffany Haddish, for her, oh yeah, just the morals, and not the morals, but the characteristics. I'll just speak for Tiffany Haddish. But for Tiffany Haddish, she just comes across as a character, like I said before, that doesn't really have or seen much when it comes to relationships and stuff like that. She's always clawing at men, and that's her whole shtick. So
yeah, she's struggled. She's definitely had struggles.
Yeah, so that's her whole thing. So I see this as just her just trying to be her form of relevant. As far as Will and Jada, I've seen some stuff online that just it's very telling now that you look at it, hindsight type of stuff. But I mean, all on her table talks and stuff, like you mentioned, she was just talking about how she didn't want to get married, and how he basically just got her pregnant, and she didn't want to be pregnant. Yeah. It's like, damn, that's wild stuff. Like you on TV or you on the internet telling the whole world that you know what I'm saying. So it's a wild dynamic, and this guy, he's married to this. So yeah, so my thing is with Will and Jada, it was flawed from the beginning. She had resentment with him from the beginning. That's why it had to be an open relationship. She didn't want to be in with him. Mm-hmm. And so now we're in this thing where, now the whole picture is being told, and it's very unfortunate that we know their whole house, we know all their business, and so now it's a situation where Will just looks like an absolute fool. Yeah, and so there's clearly women out there though that was still found that masculine, still found that hot, attractive. They would want their man to hop on stage after a comedian just finished riding on her. What are we setting? What precedent are we setting here? So are we going to start seeing this now at comedy shows where when the audience member gets offended by whatever joke they made, and now they've rubbed whatever sensitive social justice thing about them, and now they're on stage trying to confront people. I mean, they low-key already do that, but now assault might be part of the picture. Yeah, so, crazy. Yeah, so I don't know. This whole scenario to me is quite messy. And Tiffany Haddish, she's messy as a person. She's, to me, I don't mean to be rude.
No, it is what it is. Yeah,
she's messy as a person, and so this fits her. And she loves it. So I that's how I see it, though.
Yeah. She's definitely one of those women who does not. She is not operating in service of the eradication of the narrative of the older, washed up Black female who is still out here thinking that she can compete with women who men generally find to be more desirable. Mm-hmm. And so she's kind of trying to rewrite, it's very much the Lizzo syndrome, but just in a different form. Where with Lizzo, we're talking body positivity. With Tiffany Haddish, it's like the relationship and marriage version of that, where you've conducted your life in such a way thus far that you've kind of disqualified yourself from being someone who's in a marriage, but you talk about how you desire it. And the older you get, the more over the hill you get, the more you've hit the wall, the less likely it is that you're going to have very many more bites at the apple. But you'll still be the first person who's lined up to talk about what you will and will not tolerate, what you will and will not accept in a man or in a relationship or in a marriage. But meanwhile, your options are dwindling by the second. So it becomes incumbent upon you to kind of not think that way if you really do care about being in that type of situation,
Mhm.
And like, 42, and you're a black female, you're losing time, you're losing time. So it behooves you to not talk about what you think men should and should not be doing to protect you, because your options are already limited as they are. But remember, we made a few, it was a while back, we did a video talking about Ari Fletcher and Moneybag Yo. And, Ari Fletcher was talking about how, she wants her man to point his gun at her, because if he points his gun at her, that lets her know that he cares about her. Oh, you really don't want me to leave because you point your gun at me, that kind of thing, right? And we, I at least me, I won't put words in your mouth, but I chalk that up to dysfunctional black people behavior. And I didn't limit it. I wasn't saying that this is the type of behavior that is only found in black people. I was saying that is just the black form of dysfunctional relationship behavior. That there are other forms of dysfunctional relationship behavior inherent in other races and other cultures, but you see it in a different way. With black people, this is how you see it. Oh, point your gun at me, choke me out, be abusive, so on and so forth. For people who ascribe to that kind of lifestyle. So I kind of feel like, where Tiffany Haddish is coming from, where she says she looks at that and sees it as the most beautiful thing that she's ever seen. There's a little bit of that going on, where the way that you show that you are willing to ride or die for me is to be willing to publicly embarrass yourself, is to be willing to lose all control of your devices, publicly embarrass yourself, and go up there and just have no control over your emotions and make an ass out of yourself.
Not lose control of your devices.
Yeah. And so, like, for her, this is how it's done. Similar to the way in which, if you're Ari Fletcher, the way that you can convince me to not walk out the door is by pointing your gun at me. That lets me know that you really don't want me to leave. I.e., going on stage in front of millions of people on international television and slapping somebody really lets me know that you won't stand for disrespect on my behalf. And so, I kind of just feel like it's dysfunctional. No, for real. Like, I feel like this is dysfunctional relationship behavior. This is another instance of that. Tiffany Haddish comes from that, school of thought. And she was asked a question and she answered it honestly, to her credit. But this is all that this amounts to. It just, where I kind of look at it and say, let's try to be a little cautious and careful when we kind of put that sort of rhetoric out there for public consumption, is you do have incorrigible females who will glean from that the way that I think about this is similar to her. Therefore, I don't need to change because the way that I think about this is right. So, when I want my man to do is what Will Smith did. What I want my man to do is what Moneybag Yo is willing to do, because that to me is masculine. That to me is being a man who is willing to fight for your woman. And that's unreasonable because that is not how you as a man show that you are willing to fight for your woman. That's how you show that you're willing to embarrass yourself on behalf of your woman. But it is what it is, man. People have different opinions and sensibilities. These comments from Tiffany Haddish just provide us with yet another lens with which to kind of dissect the way that people consume what is appropriate behavior with respect to your relationships and your preferences and standards. Is it the most productive way of going about thinking about it? No. but everybody don't think the same. And so here you have it is, dysfunctional ideology on Front Street. And, these same women who think this way, who ascribe to this sort of dysfunctional ideology, will be the same women who are in their mid 40s, still trying to have hot girl summers, but want to talk about how they pine for a husband and a family. And yet in your mind and in your daily actions and behaviors, you don't necessarily conduct yourself in a way that is commensurate with being able to actually obtain that for yourself. So
but that's the whole point, and that's why this is so ridiculous. I'm sorry. If you see what he did as noble, that's ridiculous to me. At least me, I'm standing on that. And that's why what she's advocating is ridiculous. Because where does it stop? Where's the line?
Yeah.
Chris Rock was doing his job.
Right.
And so now this woman gets offended while this guy's doing his job. So now husband has to go smack the guy that's doing his job. Let's scale this out. Let's see how scalable this is.
Right.
Hey, I'm at dinner with my wife. The waitress says the waiter. This is a guy. So the waiter. Yeah, let's scale it. Yeah. The waiter says something to my wife that she thinks is a little passive aggressive. A little microaggression, and now she's offended. Oh, now she's pissed off. So now I guess I don't know if she said something to Will. Apparently she didn't, because since we did the show, she said, "Oh, I'm shocked that he did that. Oh, I don't know why he would."
No, you can easily look at the clip and see that there were no words exchanged. He was just, I'm telling you, he just lost it. In that moment, I truly believe, this is what we said in the last video, in that moment, I think he snapped in an instant. And in that instant, he exacted his vengeance upon all of the content and the content creators and the bloggers and the podcasters and everybody who used what she was doing for the past 2 years as content for their own platforms. Mm-hmm. He went up there and slapped all of those people, not just Chris Rock. But no, they didn't exchange any words between one another. He just did that because he lost it.
So this is Tiffany Haddish's logic. So I'm on a date with Tiffany Haddish. So now I'm on a date with Tiffany Haddish, and I'm dating her, and no, let's keep it wife. No Tiffany Haddish. We'll keep it wife. Yeah. So now it's my wife, and so I'm dating wife, or I'm with my wife on a date, and then guy says something passive aggressive, blah blah blah. She gets offended. So now I'm in this position of, oh, my wife's offended. So now let me go assault this man on his job.
Yeah.
So then I go over there. I smack the tray out of his hand. Hey, what you said to my wife was disrespectful. I need you to apologize right now in front of everybody. Right? And then, so then if Tiffany Haddish was there, she would be applauding my efforts. Oh, that's how you would handle that. He shouldn't have said that. What did he say? Yeah. And so the whole thing is, if we start going around doing that, everybody's getting assaulted everywhere, because everybody, not just women, everybody gets their feelings hurt all the time, and it's not justified. It's based on nothing. Probably some insecurities or something else weird going on in their lives. And now they're taking a regular comment the wrong way. People do it all the time. So now every time a woman or anybody takes something wrong, they're supposed to go assault somebody. This is a ridiculous logic. Yeah. And so it's not scalable. Therefore, it doesn't make sense.
Correct.
So her that's why I'm saying, like, if for her to say that is so Tiffany Haddish to say. It's such, oh yeah, I think that's a good. No, you don't. You didn't think that through.
Right.
Because now you're going to get assaulted. because whatever, for whatever reason, a woman feels like she has to defend her honor since there's no man around, and you offended her. Now she's gonna come on stage and try to assault you. What sense does this make? So, so for Tiffany Haddish, for I don't know where she came from. I get the story, I know the story, but I'm just not impressed. Haven't seen anything. I'm not knocking her. Get your money. I'm not, oh, you hate her.
Yeah, man, you don't gotta qualify everything, man.
Yeah, no, I'm not. Hey,
do
your thing. But at the same time, man, just not a fan of her work. Just not a fan. She go in that same category with that girl that be stealing everybody's jokes. That's not funny. That Schumer girl. What's
Amy Schumer? Yeah.
Yeah, she's in the same bucket. Honestly, they're not funny to me.
That's actually a pretty good comp. That is pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and I think the point that you made about it not being scalable is very important. Because if Chris Rock decides to press charges, Will Smith has the financial capability to deal with the ramifications of that.
Oh, come on, man.
I'm a private citizen. I'm a civilian. I don't have hundreds of millions of dollars. If I assault someone and charges get pressed on me, I'm going to jail. And I could face jail time depending on the severity of what happened. Is that worth you feeling as though I defended your honor? Because now we're looking at possible jail time. There's definitely going to be some type of restitution, community service. I'm going to have to pay out. There are going to be all of these penalties that come as a result of my actions. And based on this logic, all of that is worth it because I went up there and defended your honor in the manner in which you believe I should defend it.
Exactly.
So, you're absolutely correct. It is 100% not scalable. People don't think these things. People just don't. You know what it is? And I'm going to keep it a buck. What I'm learning more and more as I kind of, live my life and kind of observe people and see these kind of things play out, what I am learning is I am really starting to categorize various intrinsic aspects of humanity as hard skills. So judgment is because we sit around and we wonder, how does this person do this? They have poor judgment. Well, now I must understand judgment is actually a skill, and different people are better or worse at it than others. And another thing that's actually a skill that I'm starting to learn is conscientiousness. So a person like Tiffany Haddish isn't even thinking about how much sense what she's saying makes.
Right.
She's just saying, she's just acting off of some sort of innate emotion that she has buried within her, that she identifies something like that as, to use your word, noble. Never mind the fact that something like that is completely not scalable. You cannot suggest or even imply that is something that is necessary and incumbent upon a man to do, because there are penalties and ramifications for that. We don't live in the wild, wild west. This is not a free society where you can go around slapping the shit out of people and nothing happens to you. We don't live in that world. And I never understood where some of that comes from, because I've encountered people who live by this code in regular life. And I'm looking around saying, it's no wonder you can't get right. It's no wonder you can't keep a job. It's no wonder why you always get fired. It's no wonder why you can't start a business. It's no wonder why it's no wonder why you get evicted. It's no wonder why you're this old and you're in your parents' house still. All of it is correlated. There is a correlation between maintaining that type of ideology and one's propensity for being able to actually achieve in life at a particular level. And it's easy for her to say these things. She's made it in the world of entertainment, which is actually an outlier in society. Entertainment represents a very, very, very small percentage of the population of people who are affluent earners. The rest of us out here have to operate by the rules of society, which suggests that you can't go around slapping the hell out of people and nothing is going to happen to you. So, like, when you say stuff like this, it suggests to me that you lack a certain level of conscientiousness that it would behoove you to maintain as someone who has a platform. And I am the last person to talk about what people should and should not be saying. But at the end of the day, something like this, where we're talking about inciting violence, and like, I think you and I agree that we kind of draw the line at physical harm. So in other words, like, do whatever, say whatever, because I get into the nuance. I don't judge people or I don't judge words or statements based upon the surface, because there's always deeper meaning behind it. However, once you start to approach even seemingly co-signing, like exacting physical harm or violence, that's when I'm just like, okay, we need to kind of pump the brakes, because really at this point you're just kind of not making any sense.
No, and I agree 100. And earlier, when I lost my train of thought, I was going to say something about people that agree with Tiffany Haddish, and I was going to scale it out, but then I was like, that's not fair. I'm gonna just keep it to her. But then, as you were saying that, I'm thinking, and I'm saying, no, I was right.
Yeah.
And so, because I'm not talking about honor defending. Honor defending, I don't mind that part. I don't condone people who condone what he did.
Yeah.
Because what he did was assault someone. So I don't associate with any of that. So if I'm dating a woman who thinks that's cool, I don't want to date her, because then she's going to think that assault makes me a man.
Yes, exactly.
So I don't want to deal with that. So I was really trying to say, oh, that's not fair. Don't separate yourself. No, that is a wild ideology. What he did was ridiculous on all levels. And so it was embarrassing. It was very embarrassing for him. And so at this point, you're asking your uncles, your brothers, your cousins, your nieces, not your nieces, but hell, why would it stop at men?
Right.
This honor defending stuff, it'll just start going rampant.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's just, what is this, the Wild West? And what is it? You think it's just going to be slaps? This is a stupid logic. So for anybody that condones it, I don't agree with that. Look at the whole formula. At the end of this formula, he assaults someone. You can't omit this.
Yeah.
You can't. And for the people that's like, oh, well, accept that part. No, that's the problem.
Yeah.
That he assaulted someone. So you can't omit that. So if you want to omit that, it sounds like we're agreeing. But if you don't omit that and you agree with his assault, I don't associate with that. I don't associate with that.
And I think that's what she's saying, is that she agrees with the assault.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Because like she said, it was the most beautiful thing that she's ever seen.
That's what I'm
saying. So like, we're talking about the specific incident, not the symbolism behind it.
Exactly.
And yeah, I kind of draw the line at that. It's just, and the thing is, we live in this weirdo again. Like, we live in this weirdo social justice equality world, right? Mm-hmm. So you can say, and this is another form of co-opting. We've talked about co-opting before. So now, defending your wife and defending your marriage is now being co-opted with assault, as if they're the same thing. There's a conflation taking place, and they're not the same thing. And that, in my opinion, is dangerous rhetoric. I think that's dangerous rhetoric. Like, why are we doing these things? Like, they're not the same thing. But anytime you get to attach anything involving gay people, minorities, LGBTQ stuff, any of that kind of thing, women, any perceived marginalized group, when you can attach the betterment of that group of people to a particular action, it can become more admissible, because the idea is it was done in service of this greater good. Mm-hmm. And that is bullshit to me, because at the end of the day, like you said, he went up there and he slapped the guy. And he's lucky that Chris Rock took the high road and didn't press any charges. In the real world, in regular civilian life, if I do that, I'm going to jail.
Right.
I'm going to jail.
Bro.
And so it's like, if I go to jail, is that okay? So like, our family's gonna have to deal with the fact that I'm in jail and I'm going to court for this. And you know what I'm saying? And like I'm gonna have to hire an attorney. He's gonna have to represent me. I'm going to court. If this best case scenario, I don't face jail time, but I pay fines, fees, penalties, restitutions, so on and so forth. No, the way the court systems work these days, I'll probably have to do 90 days, 120 days, anger management, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I'm going to have to incur penalties for this. Mm-hmm. It's not just going to be scot-free. I slap this guy and nothing happens. So all of that, what you're suggesting, was worth it to you because you feel within you that I defended your honor because you were offended by someone who said something and their intent was probably not to even offend you in that case in that way in the first place.
Exactly.
So, I'm wholly against this type of thing. It's intellectual laziness. It's dangerous when you factor in the physical violence aspect of it. And, unfortunately, though, because things catch wildfire and we sort of attach all of these symbolic notions of societal change to these random acts of indiscretion, these types of things are probably going to catch wind. I wouldn't be shocked if we saw I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a new TikTok challenge where you got guys filming themselves slapping the hell out of people in public and all kinds of dumb stuff that we do as a culture these days. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if we saw that, but that doesn't mean that this wasn't ridiculous, and it was, and her comments are ridiculous.
I already saw a video on TikTok where these kids were reenacting it. It looked like they were like hanging out in the auditorium before they started doing drama class, and they reenacted the skit and put it on TikTok.
Yeah.
And so the guy was up there being Chris Rock. The kid got up there, the little middle schoolers, like 6th, 7th grade. And the kid gets on stage and smacks the shit out of him. And then he said, "Keep my wife's name out your freaking mouth."
Yeah.
I got a good chuckle out of it. We will see more.
Yeah, we will. We will
see more. And once we see more, at least for me, I'm still reserving my thoughts of this being something. But man, Will's taking L's in my theory. Yeah. And if Will did this, in my theory, he's taking L's. It's like he's losing everything. So I see the benefits that Chris Rock is balling. So in the last one, I was like, oh, it's not like he's on tour or nothing. I think he just started his tour. So and so
he's been testing out new routines in random comedy clubs and stuff.
Yeah, and so all of his tickets were selling out. So all of his stuff, he's popping right now.
Yeah.
But as far as Will Smith, he had to resign
for 10 years from the Academy. Yeah.
I mean, wild stuff, man. So we'll see what happens as far as his career goes. Is what type of gigs he'll get or what have you.
Not only that, but they were working on Bad Boys 4, and that's now on hold. There was another movie that he was a part of that was a Netflix movie that's been put on hold. I forget the name of it. I was reading an article about it yesterday. But yeah, several of his movie projects are being indefinitely put on hold as a result. So whether you think that was fake or staged or whatever whatever you think the origins of this are, the penalties that he is having to deal with as a result of it are not made up.
No,
he's and so it is what it is, man. But the Will Smith and Jada Pinkett, that's one angle. But then when you get these ancillary conversations taking place and you have other people who kind of want to put their own individual ideology into it and conflate it with these other things in order for it to be made right, that's kind of where I have a problem with that. And usually, even though I might be annoyed by stuff like this, because we've seen instances like this in the past, I would only be annoyed because it didn't result in somebody being physically hurt. But this one is more than annoyance. It's more like this needs to not be a trend because you can't go around assaulting people because there's prices to pay for that. It's just, it is what it is. And I know a lot of y'all out there want to live in this world of complete anarchy where there are no rules and we can just be all running around out here doing whatever we want, and we just don't want any decorum in society whatsoever. Like, there's a segment of our population that aches for that kind of anarchy. I know that's what y'all want, but trust me, it's not what's best for you.
But that's what I'm saying. And that's what I'm saying. So listen, man, I'm at this point in my life where I'm not going to associate with it. And so,
yeah, for real.
So for people that are on that page, let me know. That's cool. We're not going to hang out. We're just not going to hang. I don't need to hang around people that feel that way.
Yeah.
There's plenty of people that don't.
Yeah.
And so that type of is dangerous.
Yeah.
Because if they don't expect me to do it, they're going to expect themselves to do it at some point. And it's going to be around me, and I don't want to be around that.
Yeah.
Like, why do you feel like you have to do this right now? Oh, you got me messed up. Oh, you got me. Why?
Yeah.
Like, luckily for me, man, plenty of times, like being in the clubs and stuff like that, you know, luckily I was been some cool guys. You know, I was always, oh, hey, man, my bad, bro. My bad. Hey, are you going to whoop my ass? And I just, hey, man, my bad.
Yeah.
You know, but generally they were cool guys like, you know, but I've seen it before where fights broke out probably due to a scuff, I'm sure. Right. And so for the people that feel like they have to defend the scuff, my shoes have been scuffed, and I mean really bad. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, God damn, bro. That was my reaction. But it was just more or less like, man, I get it. Yeah. And so I'm in the club. You know, you better have club shoes, sir. So, you know, once they get scuffed, it's like, all right, man, whatever. And so I'm not like that. Don't hang around people like that. Don't want to be in that, because then it's going to be a scuffle, blah, blah, blah. And some people don't know how to just scuffle.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's my problem with this, because people will escalate.
Yeah.
And so that's the dangerous part about road rage. You never know what that person's got going on in that car or in their brain. Yep. You don't know who that is.
Yep.
And honestly, they're flying off the handle like this because they fly off the handle all the time.
Yeah, they're on the fringes.
Exactly. And you're just the one that day.
Yes. Yep.
And so if you're not about that life, don't mess around with people that is about that life. So don't encourage your man. If he ain't on a regular basis jacking people up, don't expect him to jack people up on your behalf in public like that. Because that's this discussion right here.
Yeah.
So if she's talking about something else, she should have just, you know, explained herself a little better. But me, I'm taking it as is. This was a goofy situation, and I don't want to be around anybody that expects me to behave in such a goofy manner.
Yeah, and not only that, but you know, even if your man is constantly jacking people up all the time, don't tell me that that's what a happy relationship is. Don't tell me that that's what all relationships should be about, is a man doing that for their woman in that way. Like, I don't want to hear it. Like, don't give me that. That's your personal belief, and that's how you conduct your situation. That's not a universal mantra.
Right.
You know, that's crazy. That's ridiculous. And again, like I said a couple minutes ago, there is a lot of these things might not necessarily be I'm not going to argue causation in any kind of way, but I definitely will argue correlation. Mm-hmm. And if you think for 1 second that Tiffany Haddish, being as old as she is and still single, yet someone who wants to be married and all of that kind of stuff, if you think that there isn't a correlation between those types of thoughts and the fact that that is her personal situation, you're fooling yourself.
Nailed it.
So,
exactly.
Yeah, you're fooling yourself. But that'll be it for that one, man. We'll go ahead and move on. Next topic we're going to talk about is Cam Newton. So Cam Newton went completely, utterly, insanely viral today with some comments that he made about women's roles. So, you know,
I got a clip if you want me to pull it up.
Yeah. You can go ahead and pull it up.
Hold on 1 second, bro. Let me get this thing off.
I grew up in a 3-parent house.
Okay, let me get this thing all queued up. 1 second, my bad. We transitioned so fast. Hold on.
Yeah. So Cam Newton was on a podcast today. What's the podcast called? Defiant or?
No, this one was $1 million worth of game. What Gilly the Kid? Yeah, I don't know the other guy name. Sorry, big dog, but I know Gilly the Kid though.
Okay, yeah. Well, yeah, Gilly the Kid. What happened to him?
Don't they? Come on, man. We respect the game.
No, we respect him. I'm just saying. I thought it was gonna be big, you know. And
No, oh yeah. Oh, you mean in rap wise?
Yeah, the music.
Oh yeah.
So Cam Newton made some comments about his idea of women's roles, so on and so forth. So we'll play what he had to say, and then we'll talk about it on the other side.
All right.
I grew up in a 3-parent household. My mom, my father, and my grandmother. And I knew what a woman was, not a bad bitch. Okay, what's the difference? A woman. Okay. Bad bitch is a person who's just, you know, girl, I'm a bad bitch. You know, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I look the part, but I don't act the part.
Okay.
You know, and it's a lot of women who are bad bitches. And I say bitches in a way, not to degrade a woman, but just to go off the aesthetic of what they deem is a boss chick. Mm-hmm. Now, a woman for me is handling your own, but knowing how to cater to a man's needs, right? And I think a lot of times when you get that aesthetic of like, I'm a boss bitch, like I'm a this, I'm a that, no, baby, like, but you can't cook.
Okay.
You don't know when to be quiet. You don't know how to allow a man to lead.
And one thing real quick, fair use, by the way, Barstool, because we're just sharing a tweet, man. This is from a tweet from the Recount Alt. So we're just sharing a tweet, but and reacting to it.
Gotcha. Don't flag us.
Yeah, it's fair use on that one, man. We just trying to do our thing. But go ahead, bro.
Don't flag us. So yeah, so that was what Cam had to say. And so you know, and naturally what the media, because this actually made it to the mainstream media today. And what the media touched on was the specific part where he talked about you don't know how to cook or be quiet. And so they used that to sort of suggest that Cam Newton was, you know, I guess he was playing to the lowest hanging fruit of the smallest tropes when it comes to subjugating women based upon their primary responsibility of domestication and having to cater to a man, and that's their sole reason for existing, is to be an appendage for a man and to cater to his needs and to just be domesticated and cook and clean, but otherwise be quiet. So that's how the media, the media ran with that particular part of it.
Right.
As you can see from that clip, that was not the entire thing, but that's what the media did. The media took that piece where he mentioned cooking and being quiet and, you know, kind of ran with it. And so now he's going viral today for being anti-woman, I guess. You know, I'll kind of let you. I'll kind of let you kick this one off, because I do agree with you. We was talking about this before we started this stream, that a lot of this amounts to fake outrage. I'm inclined to agree, but I'll let you go ahead and start this one off.
Yeah. So I do think this is. I don't really feel like outrage is genuine. So Cam Newton's talking points aren't new. So it's not like he said something that's, you know, groundbreaking. So he's being critiqued on his viewpoints, which is dangerous. And so nowadays with, you know, the social justice and cancel culture and all this other stuff like we talked about before, it's creating groupthink. And over time, you know, this is like it's like a mountain, and each new wave of sensitivity is crashing against the mountain, and eventually, you know, it will layer by layer will begin to get chewed away. And so what we're witnessing right now is you know, the grooming of a new culture that's going to be what we call America, or mainstream society. And that is a place where people aren't allowed to have their own opinions.
Yeah.
And they have to have one uniform opinion about damn near everything at this point. And so Cam Newton, a man, a father, I believe all of his children is from the same woman. So
No.
It's not.
No.
It's
No.
different.
But he's an active.
He's
Yeah.
active
He
father.
has. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's sort of part I know about it. So I just see him. Oh yeah, Cam Newton with his kids. So all right. So with Cam Newton, active guy with his kids. So he's a family oriented guy. So he's not like he's some type of backwoods super crazy man or what have you. So I think that the guy, he's entitled to his opinion. But you got to understand this too, that he's an athlete, a professional athlete, a well-known professional Heisman Trophy winner. All right, almost Super Bowl. All right, and so for him, he's only been dating quote unquote bad bitches. He's only had access to that, and so when he's dealing with these women that are just looks, he doesn't want that. He wants a mother. And he doesn't want, somebody that's going to be, doing it for the gram, doing it for the Brittany Renner reasons. They had to throw her in there. And, doing it for those reasons. And, just for the sake of being bad. Hey, look, those girls that are quote unquote bad, by the way, to me, that's not bad. I don't like that status quo bad. And so, but that status quo bad requires a lot of effort. You see how much energy they put into that. They put so much energy into that. Well, they don't put any energy in anything else. And so what Cam's talking about is that, hey, yeah, you're doing all of this stuff as far as aesthetics is concerned. But when it comes to substance, can you even cook? Hell, not for me. Can you feed yourself? And the answer is no.
Yeah.
And that's a problem.
Yeah.
He didn't say cook for me. He said, can you cook? The answer's no. A resounding no. And yeah, I know how to cook. Do you? All right. And I don't call Easy Mac. All right. Mashed potatoes out of box.
Yeah.
Cornbread out of box. Anything out of can. You don't know how to cook. You don't. Oh, my grandma did. Yeah, your grandma knew how to cook. But you don't. Yet you spend all this time on makeup tutorials trying to bag a guy. But then once you get the guy, there's no substance to keep the guy. So the only thing Cam is saying is, hey, where's your substance? These women are running around with all this the stallion energy, all the hot girl summer energy, and all this other extra stuff here. And so when they run around, you got to put a large amount into that bucket. That's a large investment. Women are spending lots of hours trying to look like this. And by the way, a lot of them are looking kind of good. So they're spending so much. So I was like, damn, it used to be a lot more average women. Now the average women have learned how to look above average. I'm not mad at that, but all this energy spending to look good, there isn't much often behind that. I'm not saying this is for all women, but the overwhelming majority of the masses. So that's my take of it initially. That's what I got.
Yeah. So let me just address Cam real quick, because I know what he was trying to do. Cam Newton could benefit from taking public speaking classes, because when you are devoid of public speaking skills, and when you're devoid of like higher level elocution and communication skills, you might at times not effectively communicate what it is that you're trying to say in the best possible way. And when you do that, you open yourself up to the possibility of being ridiculed. Now, I know what Cam was getting at.
Right.
And I believe that Cam was getting at what you were getting at, which is the intangibles.
Right.
But for him, he doesn't know how to say, but what are your intangibles? He only knows how to say, can you cook and clean? You know what I'm saying? And so like and what the media is going to do is feast on that. Yeah. And the media is going to run with the story. Oh, Cam's talking about how women need to learn how to cook and clean. Look at him being one of these subjugating men out here trying to keep his thumb on the, keep his boot on the neck of all women everywhere. And it's like, okay, you know what? Fine. I expect the media and society to run with that. I expect the social media world to do that because that's the society that we live in. That's the world that we live in now. We live in the world of the hot take, the clickbait, the social media stuff. So I expect that. I'm not even surprised that that's what happened. Mm-hmm. So because I expect that to happen, and I'm not surprised that that's what happened, I have to then say to Cam Newton, bro, you need to learn how to do better. That when you're making these public appearances and you're lending your voice to a platform and you want to express your views and opinions, you need to practice on how to most effectively communicate your message so that you don't expose yourself to the possibility of this kind of BS. Because the backlash that he is incurring is complete and utter BS. Because what he is doing is he is speaking towards a person, specifically a woman's intangibles. But like I said, for him, intangible is processed in his brain as can you cook? Do you know how to be quiet? Or whatever the case may be.
Oh, yeah, I got to address that.
Had he said, what are some of your intangibles? What are the qualities that you have that you are bringing to the table in order to counterbalance some of my weaknesses so that we can be a stronger unit? He wouldn't be getting any of this flack. But he didn't say that. He just said, can you cook and can you be quiet? And, that's what Molly Caramel on First Take is going to latch herself onto. Oh, cook and be quiet. He's playing to the lowest hanging fruit. Look at Cam Newton being Cam Newton. This is disgraceful, blah, 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 blah. So that's as far as I'm going to go with Cam Newton because I don't think that he was necessarily in the wrong. I'm just going to say he could benefit from, enrolling, maybe he needs like a kind of public speaking coach or someone, because even when I watch some of his episodes on his YouTube channel, he's not very good at being an effective communicator. So he can stand to work on those skills. And I'll just leave it at that with Cam Newton. Now, in terms of the rest of this nonsense, we keep it a buck on this channel, so I'm gonna keep it a buck.
Yeah, man.
What the media and because they ran it on First Take and they mentioned it briefly on the Colin Cowherd show today. What the media time and time again fails to do, and it drives me crazy, is the media does not introduce nuance into any conversation. They play to low-hanging fruit just the way they think Cam Newton did. So I don't understand how what they did is any better. I don't understand it. To me, it's all the same thing. They fail, in my opinion, on purpose because they want to be able to gaslight. They fail to introduce nuance into the discussion.
Of course.
And here's the fact of the matter. Cam Newton, being in the position that he is in, as a Heisman Trophy winning, multi-millionaire earning professional football player, he oftentimes finds himself in environments that are populated by a large portion of women who evaluate their worth based upon their physical attractiveness. And they feel as though they don't have to bring anything of substance to the table when it comes to relationships, because for them, their presence is a present. To them, their physical presence is the only requirement that they have to maintain.
Yep.
They believe that them being with you is in and of itself its own reward, and therefore they do not have to offer anything other than their mere existence.
Yep.
And because he often finds himself in those types of environments, surrounded by those types of women. He often finds himself in environments surrounded by women who probably think they don't need to bring anything of substance to the table. And so as a man who intrinsically wants a woman of substance, he probably is saying, what else can you do? What else can you provide for me? See, it's easy for a person like Molly Karam to criticize his comments. Molly Karam isn't one of these women, but to her, she's saying Cam Newton is talking to me.
Right.
And she's saying Cam Newton is talking about me. So yeah, Molly Karam, you might be Wonder Woman. You might be somebody who's sensitive and who knows how to cater to a man emotionally and can cook and works out and doesn't believe that your presence is the only thing that you need to bring to the table. But what people like her needs to understand is that there is a very sizable percentage of women in our population who are not like that.
Yeah, it's growing.
It is growing. There is a very sizable percentage of women who say, all I got to do is make sure that I hit the squat rack and focus on my makeup tutorials. Or if I don't want to hit the squat rack because I'm lazy, find the best surgeon that I can and work on my looks and get myself an OnlyFans page. Yeah. And that's all that I need to do because these men just care about looks. So I don't need to focus on intangibles. I can just be. I can just simply exist. I can just simply demand that you, as the man, provide all the legwork, and I can just be here because me because me simply existing as a physically attractive female is its own reward. And therefore I don't need to contribute anything else. There is a sizable percentage of women who maintain this type of thought process. Those are the types of women that Cam Newton finds himself around more often than not, because those are the types of women that are around pro athletes.
Exactly.
So that's what he's talking about. He's not talking about all women. He's not generalizing. These are the women that he finds himself around. Now, I would say to Cam Newton and to other men like him, bro, it becomes incumbent upon you to put yourself in different environments where you can be around different types of women. You're going to have to make that call and stop hanging around the IG models and the OnlyFans women and the rest of these women out here who think like that. Because it trust and believe, it's not just OnlyFans chicks and Snapchat chicks and porn chicks and fitness models and OnlyFans. Those aren't the women who think like this. They're just the ones who are the most front-facing. But you have a sizable percentage of modern women who harbor this mentality, who exist and live private lives. And they're the ones who seek out men who match the profile of Cam Newton. So there's no generalization taking place. And you have to understand that and maintain perspective. If you are someone to whom that does not apply, yes, but understand the point of view that Cam Newton and people like him are coming from. He's talking to a particular percentage of women who think like this, who act like this, who behave this way. That's the nuance. That's the meat and potatoes of this whole thing. And of course, the media is not going to talk about this. And I'm not shocked by that. That surprises me not one bit. But those are the women who Cam Newton is talking about. Period. And so my thing is, hey, bro, Cam, other dudes like Cam, these women are only multiplying. They're not dwindling. The amount of women who are this way, it's increasing. It's not getting smaller. So it becomes incumbent upon you to put yourself in an environment where you maximize the opportunity that you have to not be polluted by the presence of females like this. And to people like Molly Karam who want to criticize, and I know I'm mentioning Molly Karam specifically because she was the only female who I saw going off on Cam Newton. But I'm pretty sure if I spent more time on Twitter, I would have seen plenty others.
Yeah, I'm sure.
The fact of the matter is, he ain't talking about you. So get over it and move on. Like, where is your awareness of the world that we live in? What are the types of women that Cam Newton is around on a regular basis? That's who he's talking about. So all the way around, accountability on everyone's front. Cam needs to not put himself. Cam needs to do a better job of being in an environment where he does not have to, with such regularity, deal with those types of chicks. And to everybody else, I just say lighten up, because he ain't talking about everybody. When he mentions being quiet and when he mentions cooking, he's talking about intangibles. That's what he's talking about. Does he do the best job of elocuting himself? No, fine, I'll give you that. But let's be reasonable and let's not go the route of trying to cancel somebody for saying something that's a very real thing. The fact of the matter is, you got a lot of women out here who are simply not wife and girlfriend material because of the way that they conduct themselves. And they do think that me being here is all that I need to fulfill. And that's it. That's pretty much the crux of this whole thing. And that's primarily what I took from what he said.
And to address, I agree with a lot of what you say, man. And to address what you said as far as like Cam being able to, articulate himself better. Not saying that he can't, but I think he's kind of in this space, with football players, man.
Well, that's why I said like public speaking coach, or there's some
he can work around
that
it.
can happen. Yeah,
he can work around it. I hear that, because the thing is I think they just get into the spot where they like turn into like boxers.
Yeah.
And like, boxers, when they get older, things are limited with their speech and stuff like that. So, for him, I'm not saying, he can't get there, but he's basically a running back that throws.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so I think he's operating at an optimum. I'm not trying to be funny.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. I see. Yeah. He been hit so much that, yeah.
I think Cam he's impressive to me for what he's doing. And so I think you can work on it. I think he can sharpen up more for sure. But because he is careful what he's saying, but then he'll say a statement like that, like he is like talking with his homeboys. It's like, bro, this is the internet, bro, and you're Cam Newton.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so he would definitely. And man, when you talking about women, bro, it's thin ice, man. It's a few groups of people. It's thin ice, bro.
Yeah.
I don't know. I get how white people feel now. Before, the only thing you just say, don't say nothing bad about black people, and that was the only group of people. Now it's just like, oh no, everybody. You can't say nothing about anyone. So now it's just like, oh, can't say that. Oh, hey,
yeah.
Oh, I thought this would have been funny. Can't say that. And so it's just like, hey man, yeah, you can't say it.
Well, remember what I said. There are now only two groups of people that you can say something about: white people and straight men. You can say if you're talking about white people or straight men, no one's gonna say anything, because
specifically white men.
Yeah, and they're the ones who are they get it the most, because that's the cross section. But yeah, you can talk about white people or straight men, because the two things that are perceived. I'm not co-signing this. I'm just saying the two things that are perceived to be the root of all evil today is racism and the patriarchy. And white people are the perpetrators of racism. Straight men are the perpetrators of the patriarchy. Therefore, they are the bad guy. So it's okay if you talk about white people and straight men, because they're just the root of all evil. And the cross section of that is white heterosexual men. If you talk, you can disparage a white straight man all day long, and ain't nobody gonna say nothing to you.
Nah, bro. And I be here. Honestly, hey, their voices. I hear their voices on online at times, and they're aware of it. And it really sucks, man. I be feeling bad for them. Like, oh man, like I be watching a movie and they're just getting dunked on, just absolutely just thrashed, and that's like, man, how I feel paying for this movie. But that's another topic. But yeah, that's some wild stuff, man. But as far as Cam, I think he's capping out a little bit. But it was another point that you have brought up. I can't remember at the time, but
about women who just think that they have to be present and that's it.
No, but my thing is no. It was the being quiet part.
Okay.
So as far as the being quiet part, man, good luck cleaning that up. But it's man, good luck, man. And there's a lot of people that take things literal and they don't have any layer of thought. And but he's not saying be quiet, you know. It's not, man. Just stay in the kitchen and be quiet. And
That's how.
so
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, and so that's a wild thing to say. But hey, man, we're quiet, so we're asking you to be quiet. We're not asking you to do nothing we're not doing. We're quiet. You be quiet. That's not rude, man. And so when things are so animated, things are so extra, it's like, man, be quiet. So that's one of those things where it's like, bro, you don't say that out loud. And you don't
Yeah.
say that to you don't say that
That's
to
the
the
thing.
internet. You
Yeah.
say that to your homeboys. That's guy talk.
Yeah.
And so, oh yeah, you can say that in the confines of your own thing. Everybody there is going to understand it. Everybody goes about their day happy. But as soon as you go out there and you start, talking about women like that, man, it's hard to clean that up.
It
And
is.
so this is all kinds of, you talk about content for us, right? This is all kinds of content for any type of news outlet. I saw all types of headlines, misogynistic.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is another thing they said?
Degrading. I saw
Degrading.
degrading.
Yeah. And he said in this thing verbatim, I'm not trying to degrade women. Hey,
Right.
they say
It don't even matter. It don't matter. It don't matter what you said. It's what we think you said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and it tie back into the point of him being superstar Cam. Now, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure he was a big guy in 8th grade. I'm pretty sure he was pretty large compared to the other 8th graders. So, and I'm just starting at 8th grade. This guy's been getting all kinds of attention from women for a long time, and they've all been the same kind, and so the aggressive ones, and so cheerleaders, you name it, whatever.
Yeah.
And so every I would say all high school, he's dealt with a certain type of woman because of their level of aggression and being in his space. So he's just collecting from where he can fish at. And so he's just been collecting. So that's why I said I'll give him 9th grade and on. The type of attention he's been getting has been this.
Yeah.
And so maybe that explains the multiple baby mothers. And so it's a thing where it's like, hey, well, he needs to choose better women. Man.
No, that's his conditioning. It's hard to rewire that program.
And man, the thing these 10s, bro, whatever guys call a 10, right? What the stuff that I call 10s are off limits. I don't want them. They look too good. I don't want them. So I'll deal with a 9, an 8, or whatever other people got their scales on. I'll deal with those. But I'm not dealing with a 10. Reason being, they're too expensive. And I'm not talking financially. They're expensive emotionally. If you really care about this situation, all this other stuff, you shouldn't. And I'm not saying that, not all 10s are bad. What I'm getting at is, look, man, don't do it. Because when you're in his ballpark, he's getting 10s. Everybody's like,
Sure. Yeah.
He's getting 10s.
Yeah.
And so it's not all 10s. It's some type, right? But those, that's what I'm saying. So people will be like, I'm an everyday person guy. So these Instagram model girls that everybody's Google, I'm assuming these girls are 10s. These BBL girls and all this other stuff. I'm assuming they're 10s. They're not. That's not my steez. So my thing is I would prefer an everyday look and all that other stuff. And then once she does the makeup tutorials or the nice clothes, she does look like these quote unquote 10s or whatever. So it can be an everyday woman. So the women that actually take their time out to go to basically turn their looks into a career, that's dangerous type of stuff.
Yeah.
And like we were saying, I think he's just speaking from life experience.
Yes.
And so him speaking from life experience candidly,
Yes.
he opened himself up to the social justice mob,
Yeah.
and they needed something to do.
Yeah.
And so,
They always need something to do. They always need something to do. There's never a shortage of time in which they need something to do.
The devil works round the clock.
I can say peanut butter is red, and they'll get offended, and they'll want to blast me talking about how peanut butter ain't red. They always are looking for something.
Hey man, look, man, don't cancel me, all right? But everything's a joke. All right, everything's a joke. I'm just joking. But this whole thing, man. So Cam, hope he has fun with this. It's kind of like every off season with this guy now. He's not getting into stuff, but he's content creating in the summers, and he's always in the news. That's Cam for you, man.
But see, he's fancying himself a media personality, and so that's the thing. He's trying to. He'll never publicly admit this, but I think in his heart of hearts, he knows that his playing days, unless he's going to be a backup, are done. And so what he's doing is he is strategically trying to position himself into his next career, which is as a media personality. So he has the Cam Newton, he has the YouTube page, and he's got, so he's on the internet often. And so like that's why I brought up the whole thing about working on developing your craft. Because if you're going to be in this space where you're going to be talking cultural and social issues and lending your voice to that, it behooves you to be better at being an effective communicator, which you can work on. I know you mentioned that he might be operating at optimum capacity. Even if that's the case, man, he better do a better job of maximizing that, because otherwise he's going to find himself in a social media firestorm every time he does an episode of something, because he's going to say something every time that gets misconstrued. And he can only control the narrative on his own platform. But it takes nothing for any of these other shows to take us, like what happened this time, to just say, oh, he said a woman needs to be able to cook and stay quiet, and just cut that and say he's degrading women. And so you're opening yourself up to a lifetime of this kind of scrutiny if you don't at least do as best a job as you possibly can of becoming a more effective communicator. But moreover, he is absolutely speaking from life experience. And one of the things that frustrates me so much about this social justice culture is we refuse to acknowledge nuance. We don't want to do it. We just want to say he's being X or she's being Y, insensitive, racist, bigot, whatever adjective you want to put in there. We just want to immediately leap to that. We don't want to take into account a person's body of work, and we don't want to take into account what their intent is. We just want to say none of that even matters. They were being this way, and they need to make amends and apologize and all of this kind of stuff. And it's like he was 100% speaking from experience. These guys are surrounded by a certain type of woman all the time. And those types of women fit the bill for what Cam Newton was describing. You can't relate to that because you ain't him. You're not in his position. So you don't know the kind of women who, look, I'm a private guy. I'm not even famous or a millionaire. And I've rubbed elbows with those kind of chicks from time to time. So if I've rubbed elbows with those kind of chicks from time to time, Cam Newton is somebody who has $80 million in the bank. What he experiences is that times 100,000.
Exactly, bro.
Seriously, like there's a large contingent of women who, I went to college at Florida State University. They called them cleat chasers, women who made it their business to exclusively chase football players.
And it was a thing, bro.
And it's a whole culture of this. There's books on how to be an effective cleat chaser. If you want to live that life, if you about that life. So like you got these women out here. They wait. Look, they keep schedules of
No,
the
that's
visiting team, right?
exactly,
So like if you live in a city,
exactly.
they know the visiting football team or basketball team. They know when they gonna arrive at the hotel. They already know what hotel they staying at. They're in the hotel
Professional.
lobby waiting on these
They're
guys.
professionals.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting.
Yes.
Yeah,
And they're not waiting in the hotel lobby. They're not waiting on the hotel lobby to be feminine, submissive, cooperative wives and girlfriends. They're waiting in the hotel lobby to hypnotize that dude by busting it wide open for him.
exactly. And all that energy she's using to be bussing and going places and catching flights to catch up with these dudes is all this time that she's investing to look good and do all this stuff. When is she taking time to learn to cook?
Exactly. There is
When is,
no time.
when is she learning the time to be humble enough to shut up at times? Because everybody has to be humble at times.
Yes. That's not a male or female thing. That's a humanity thing.
Exactly.
Everyone needs to know when, where, and how to just shut the hell up.
Exactly.
Like, period.
Exactly.
That's not a woman. That's not a male, female. That's the stuff about this. That's what drives me so crazy about this stuff. It's so clickbaity and gaslighting. It's like, no, everyone needs to be able to be quiet. Everyone.
Mm-hmm.
But Cam Newton is in environments where he is around women who don't care about, nor do they want to, nor do they even retain the capacity to be able to learn this stuff. And he's around that all the time. And I'm going to tell you, most men, no matter what background they have, deep down inside, a man recognizes when that is not something that I want to spend the rest of my life with. Like, that's it. So what Cam is saying is, hey, this is not what I'm going to spend the rest of my life with. Where are the women who can do the antithesis of that? Should he explain it in a bit more of an elegant way? Perhaps. But he's speaking from life experience. That's it. And that's what he's around. Like, we need to do a better job of understanding that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's it.
Agreed, 100. And so, yeah. And as far as like Cam and the type of women and stuff, so that's what I was saying. Like these are mega thoughts.
Yeah, they're Super Saiyans.
Right. They're professionals. Like you said, they just travel. Like I used to hear, like even when I was young, I would hear about stories about wherever the Bulls was at and how the hotels would be, just the women just outside ready for it.
Yeah.
So this is a culture, this is a society, this is part of an apparent ecosystem. And so if there is these guys that make money out of entertainment like this, there will always be those women that are professional groupies. And so what's going on is that professional groupie lifestyle has become popularized in music for women.
Yes. Yeah.
And so now this rhetoric is being promoted to the average everyday girl that was already on the fringe.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes. And it is speaking to every frustration that they have about men and dating. It is a quick, easy solution to the bullshit that guys play. So why don't I just get stuff out of you?
Yeah.
If you want my vagina, well, then literally pay for it now.
Yes.
And that's where we're at right now. And so that's what those girls would do. And so now what it's done is it has transitioned over, not all women, but the ones that it needs to catch, and that's the masses. In order for critical mass, we've reached a critical mass of thottery. And now this rhetoric has just gone massive. It has gone global and it's trendy to not have any substance at all. It is absolutely sad. I do see the women online crying for help. Hey, I'm here. I'm like, oh shit, a real sister out there. Goddamn. Where are you? Oh yeah, Missouri. Yeah. So it's just one of these things of what's going on right now, bro. It is there's still the now, mind you, now we're talking about online women. Not all women are online.
Correct.
So the women that are online aren't the women doing the crazy stuff. And so there is a degree of, everyday interacting that people need to get into, to avoid the scammers and the crazy stuff that's going on right now. If you do meet somebody in close quarters, that's what's recommended right now. And that way you can really get to know somebody the way that you need to. You see them every day. It's not some online weird stuff. All this stuff that Cam's probably dealing with lately, at least, has been DM action.
Yeah, sure.
I'm sure at least one of the baby mothers, now that I know there's multiple, was from DM action.
Yeah.
And so when we're dealing with this, these guys are just treating Instagram like it's Backpage.
Yeah.
And so where are we at? And this always ties in to the animalistic desire that men have been finding themselves in due to adult entertainment. And now they just can't turn it off. Everything has to be adult entertainment at all costs. And to the point to where women becoming pump and dumps, they're pumping and dumping anybody. They don't care about qualifications anymore. Everybody's getting pumped and dumped, And so that's what's going on with guys, because every guy's horned out.
Yeah.
It is. And so guys really have to reel it in, man. And they really have to reel it in. We talk about it all the time, controlling your desires, and that the OnlyFans thing is a degree of that, of not, you're putting your credit card in there right now, bro. You're about to give this girl $15 a month for what? Oh man, she bad, bro. What? You're paying for another one? And so if you can't control this to where you're so doped out that you need to pay, for this stuff. And so where we're at right now, there's a demand for these types of women. And these women are I'm not putting it all on men, but there's a demand for this. And then men go, hey, what's going on, man? Y'all clicking the pictures.
Right.
Oh, I don't want her in real life. You're clicking the pictures.
Yeah.
They don't understand anything else. They say, well, the pictures say it all. Yeah, the likes say it all. You want this. They're running out and getting it. It's ridiculous. Then I'll see some cats. No, whatever this BBL stuff these girls are doing now, it's great.
God.
Yeah, it's great. I'm like, bro, get off this thing. The only people in the comment section were girls was like, we need some supporters. Yeah. And it's like, nah, y'all don't need supporters. All right. So yeah, man, this is where we're at, bro. So Cam was speaking, like we said, from experience, speaking to that class of women. And so for that class of women, we have the one for the athletes. Then once we get into regular everyday stuff, then we have a class, that same tier, but for the average everyday man. Mm-hmm. All right. Hey, even for the emo cats, right? There's a tier for those women, and there's a tier everywhere.
Yeah, they're listen. Every walk of life, every flavor, there's a market for it. There's something for you.
There's a tier there.
Yeah.
There's a high tier. There's a high tier where there is, oh man, everybody wants that. Then when you get it, you realize there's no substance there.
Yeah.
And so that's what we're dealing right now with, a large group, man. Hey, guys are doing it too. We're not here to talk about men because we are men, all right? And we're the conscious approach men, all right? So we don't understand and identify with the goofy stuff. So as far as what women are out there doing, like I said, I do hear the good ones out there. But man, the numbers are climbing, and yeah, man, I feel sorry for tomorrow. for the future families out there. I don't know what this is going to look like, man.
Yeah, I don't either. It makes me, I've talked about how nervous it makes me too. But yeah, I think that you're right. Just like I'm a believer in the notion of the vocal minority. Most reasonable people don't have inordinate amounts of time to spend on social media complaining about stuff because they're actually living lives. So when you're raising children and you're going to yoga class or spin class, or you're going to arts and crafts, or you're planning a vacation, or you're running a business, or running errands, or going to the grocery store, when you're doing normal human being things, you have less time to spend on the internet complaining about stuff. And likewise, when you are a normal person, you spend less time leveraging your physical appearance on social media. So I do think that the majority of women, the women who Cam claims to be looking for, I do think that that is the majority of them. However, you're not going to find them on the internet. You're not going to find them on Instagram and social media, at least not a lot, because they don't do that kind of, like, they don't orient their lives around their social platforms. So that's just not where you're going to find them. It's going to take that in-person thing, like you said, in order to make that happen. That's very true. It's just, the majority of people who exist in the middle of that bell curve, they're not doing that. They're not always online. They're not always on social media like that. And then also, like, the reason why it's like, and what you said is true about the messaging and the social conditioning, because, the reason why women like this are on a rise is, because it's bad enough that you have women who are already fully inundated, right? So they're already done. They're already gone. They're already living that lifestyle. But the dissemination and the normalization of this behavior through the messaging and the music is making a lot of normal girls ascribe to the same type of stuff. And that's what's causing the increase in it. And I've said a lot, I've said before, like, whereas before, it would take, a female being in some kind of prime position in order to have access to, like, a pro athlete or an entertainer. Now it can be a girl who lives 3 doors down in your apartment complex. And if her social media game is good enough, she'll get DM'd by some NBA or baseball or NFL player somewhere. Like, this stuff is just on the rise. And so it just, I've given up telling, hey, all guys, you need to do this. Stay off OnlyFans. Don't DM chicks. And I've given up with that because it serves no purpose. I'm not going to be able to stop it. I'm not going to be able to stop guys from liking pics and liking and liking photos and videos. I'm not going to stop guys from doing that. I'm not going to stop these guys from following these models and stuff on these Instagrams and all of that. I'm not going to be able to stop it. I'm not going to be able to stop guys from spending money on OnlyFans. I'm not going to be able to stop that. It is as pervasive as it ever has been, and it's going to continue to get even worse. So I'm out the way when it comes to trying to tell guys how they shouldn't be doing this stuff. But what I will say is, whenever I run across guys who talk like Cam, who are just like, where are the women with the intangibles? My first question is, well, where are you meeting these women? What are you doing? Like, maybe you need to work on putting yourself in environments where you can maximize your opportunities to meet women who aren't on that stuff. But if you continue to do the same thing, you can't continue to complain about the types of women that you're encountering, because then it becomes insanity. Because at that point, you're just doing the same thing, but trying to get a different result. And that's just not going to happen. You'll just drive yourself mad doing that kind of stuff in your life. So at the end of the day, if this is something that you really care about, it's going to take a commitment to doing something different so that you can get different results. And, to people who want to get mad at the comments that he made, you just have to do a better job of taking into account his experiences and everything that he went through. What are the types of women that he is around? That speaks volumes in terms of his perspective, and you just got to keep that in mind.
Yeah, I agree 100. And for those that,
yeah, it's just it is what it is, man.
If you got offended by that, I mean, you get offended by everything. And so for people like that, you're entitled to that, and just to tie into the what's that name, Molly Caron,
yeah.
And just to tie in real quick with that. So the thing is with women is there's women advocates. So even if it doesn't apply to them, they don't care.
Yeah, right.
And they throw their hat right in the ring. It's all the same to them. And so you know, and I guess rightfully so, right? Nobody else defends them, so they feel like they have to defend themselves. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
So I get all of that stuff, but I mean, come on, man. He's not talking caveman stuff. Like,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
we really need to, you know, grow up and let people have a dialogue.
For real.
And so that's
Yeah.
why I basically opened up with where initially it's like, hey, look, again, man, with this stuff, like this guy, he's entitled to this. Can he not say this? Like, can we all just as adults just move the hell on? And then so, but no, they have to pick this up. They have to run with it, and they have to shame him. And so, for any man of, you know, that's has any type of a man in him can see this as foolishness and keep on going about his business. But this isn't for that man. This is for little Timmy, all right, and little Dante. And once they're growing up, they're gonna say, "Man, that is wrong. You shouldn't even say that about women. What are you expecting those women to do then?" Then once little Dante and little Timmy grow up at a certain age, now they have this complex of, look, I'm not gonna put my woman in this position. I'm not gonna make her cook. I'm not. Nobody said you have to make her do anything. She has to know how to cook. So it's so I'm not gonna make her do it. And so now little Dante and little Timmy have wives that don't cook. They
Yeah.
don't do anything for the family. This is for the family. Hey, so I don't know what Dante and Timmy are doing, but the kids lose. And so now, so the whole thing is that this is, yeah, he's speaking to a lot of things, but right now I really feel as though that this social justice wave is paving. I mean, I can just imagine it's like a forest, and they're just clearing shit out. You can't see nothing. It is a barren land. Only thing you can see is twigs and little pieces of smoke, and everything is just wiped out. And it's like, honestly, it looks like they're trying to wipe out the whole goddamn forest.
Yeah.
You won't be able to say, do, or whatever. It's honestly, apparently, all right, the ultimate goal is for everybody to be gray, walking around in Kanye clothes, and automate it.
Yeah, we're gonna be brave. It's gonna be Brave New World. That's what we're headed to.
No,
it's gonna be Brave New World in real life.
Yeah,
that's what it's gonna be.
We're really going there, bro.
Yeah,
like we're really going. And it's honestly, there's a lot of this stuff happened in our lifetime too, bro. Like a lot of stuff happened in the last decade. Like it's stuff that you can't say 5 years ago right now.
That's what I'm saying, man. It's so ironic to me that what has fueled a lot of this societal change have been tools that were supposed to open communication. So how ironic it is that social media and Twitter and all of this stuff, they're supposed to be ways to allow for us to more easily and readily communicate with one another. But what it's created is this culture in which we are constantly chastising each other for the things that we say on these platforms. And so it's just creating a culture of censorship, essentially, where we want to try and determine the merit of an individual and their humanity based upon various opinions that they have. When the reality is there isn't a single individual walking the face of this earth who doesn't have an opinion that would probably piss someone else off. So like, who at the end of the day, what difference does it make? I have opinions that will probably offend someone else. And that person probably has opinions who would offend another person. We all have sensibilities and opinions that would rub another individual who has different sensibilities and opinions the wrong way. So I've always said, as people, diversity of thought should be what we embrace more than anything. I don't care about whether people agree with me or not. And if something is said, and we all know what that line is between what is truly offensive and what is otherwise a disagreeable point of view. And what we've done is we've blurred it and we've made offensive and disagreeable the same thing. Yeah, we've conflated the two. Mm-hmm. And it's like it's gotten out of control. And the only way that you can sidestep that is by towing the line. So I can't say anything other than what is perceived to be righteous. As long as I'm saying what is perceived to be righteous, then no one's going to come for me. Had Cam Newton said, I think women are smarter than men and women are better businessmen than men. I think all women are smarter than men and are better at business, and men should be at home cooking and cleaning. No one would have said nothing. No one would have said nothing.
You would have given him applause for that.
Yeah, right. No one would have said nothing because that's what's perceived to be righteous. So, it's a problem. It is what it is. All I can say is, man, what you have to do is you just have to evolve. It's like Pokemon. Back in the day when we were doing the Pokemon game and you had the base Pokemon and you'd have to make them evolve so that they can become stronger and more powerful. You just have to evolve. You have to become your next version of Pokemon. Now that we're in this minefield, you have to learn how to be so effective as a communicator that you can get your point across without incurring the vitriol. That's the new wave now. You have to be so astute at being a communicator that people at the very least will be able to say, damn, I don't like what he said, but I can't really criticize him for it too harshly.
Yeah, and
that's where we are.
Totally. And just to tie in, just to poke at you a little bit. Hey man, this is what LeBron does. This is what LeBron does. LeBron goes, what was that? What you just asked me? He go, whoop, 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 whoop. Got out of that real quick.
Hey, Brady does the same thing. Tom Brady does the same thing.
Yes, brilliant. That's why I respect that. It's so you go, oh, he's such an asshole. It's like, no, you gotta respect the art. They be asking him trip questions every night, and he doesn't fall for it. It's great. That's why I like Belichick interviews too. Yeah. He is so I watch Belichick interviews to know how to deal with my chick when she asking me these crazy questions. I'm on to Cincinnati and her ass every time. Every time I'm not on Cincinnati. Hey, another on Cincinnati. Because I only have to answer the questions pertaining to the game.
Yeah,
I'm not answering none of these extra. Nope, on Cincinnati. And so I learned that from Belichick. I watch him, I get inspired. So the same thing, man. So what Cam did is he keeping it too real. Oh yeah, bro, you don't get points for being a real nigga. You don't get points for that. They look at you like you crazy.
Yeah.
They say, oh, what? You keeping it this 100 on here? Boy, you out your mind. Hey, I was with Gilly the Kid. I was $1 million worth of game. I was trying to
man. Philly stand up.
The Johns and the Bulls.
Yeah.
Philly stand up. Yeah, man, all that stuff there. So to me, Cam walked right into a trap. He does need a PR person. He needs to talk that LeBron talk.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so me and my old lady, we got a joke because it's a LeBron answer. And she'll ask me something pointed. I'm like, ooh. And I just give it a LeBron answer. She's like, that was such a LeBron answer. But hey, it fits.
Yeah.
It's a good one. And we're rocking and we're rolling.
Yeah. This interrogation is now over.
Exactly. What can you ask me now?
Yeah.
So,
hey, man,
so for Cam, if the articulation game isn't his thing, he might need to learn the dodge game. You need to do something, bro, because have a coach PR guy, in-house, publicist. Boy, you need something.
Yeah.
You just running your mouth at this point.
He's just stepping in shit. Yeah, he's gotta learn how to be able to walk around the shit. Real, that's it. That's really the only thing that I can really fault him for, because in terms of what he said, I just gave my 2 cents on all of that. But yeah, man, that'll do it for tonight's stream, man. Appreciate everybody for tuning into this video. Certainly appreciate you supporting the platform. Wherever you're watching this video, if you're watching this video on YouTube, please hit that like button because it is free, costs you nothing. Subscribe to the channel so you can get the notification whenever new content gets posted to the channel. Check out the website on constantapproach.com. You can also follow Constant Approach on Instagram at conapproach, CONAPPROACH. And you can follow me on Instagram Instagram at JVWins. Continue to support logical content. Continue to be on the lookout for new and emerging content as we continue to keep this thing rolling.
Yes, sir. And the name is SS. And you can find me on Instagram at Dogon_SS and on YouTube at Dogon SS. And honestly, pretty much any other platform, honestly. Just type in Dogon SS. I'm most likely there. So just go ahead and give me a follow and all that good jazz. But as I normally say, man, just keep it calm and keep it player, man, and keep it chill, bro. Keep it neutral. Stay in the middle, man.
Yeah.
Just stay balanced out there, y'all.
Yeah. And apparently only express your true opinions, not on the internet, with your friends and other people who will know that you're not a horrible, evil person just because you have a disagreeable point of view.
Exactly.
And all that good stuff. But until next time, man, we'll catch you on the flip side. We signing off. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for supporting logical content. We out.